Until like 30 seconds ago, I had no camera. Rick and Morty Raiders. That's right. Don't doubt it. It still fits. Rick and Morty Raiders. I mean, literally up until like 10 seconds before I was about to start, I had no camera. I'm so frazzled. Kidding. I'm Raiders! Yeah, my camera just it had like a little stroke or something. I don't know what happened. But duplicated. That fool with no hair. That shouts like Ric Flair. No way to put a The Raider Bear! A Raider! All right. Hang on. I need more lights, guys. This is my mustache better. There will be mustache tips later on in the show. Actually, most of you don't know. All right. That's enough of that nonsense. Now let's get on to business. But first, Tradish! Raider, they're live. First comment. MVP tonight goes to... You can't keep him on a leash forever. He's starting to see the way that gold shines in the sunlight, and he needs more of that. We all know who I'm talking about now. Oh! Essay! Woo! Big dog! What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear, my guy, Essay. Big dog. I accidentally a couple times called him Big D, and I just... I don't know how many of you watch Rick and Morty face, but you know that face Morty makes you. I was like, okay, bro, I can't call you that anymore. I'm either going to have to call you Big Dog or D. But I can't call you Big D. That just okay. Yeah. Second place, my silver medal goes to another one of my favorite names and one of my favorite viewers, Ramiro. Woo! Cash flow. Trademark pending. Castro! To hell with your brother. And if you have to sue him, sue him! No. I'm ready. Just like the other night. Mount Rushmore starting to make a comeback. I can see the muscles on him again. He's starting to lose a little weight, getting back into shape. DPC! David Pelkaliva! What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. I don't know why I did that. I know that was freaky. It was on the, come on. It was on the, okay, for everyone that I might have frightened, it was on the blunt side. Blunt side, not the sharp side. If it was the sharp side, I would be bleeding right now because this is actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's very sharp. Not that you can see sharpness on TV, but there's no cracks or blemishes in the blade or anything like that. I've never like hit it with anything except a human. Just kidding. If they tried to come into my house, that'd be different. But oof. Honorable mention to Mark Vargas. What happened tonight, Mark? Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. Prayers up. Absolutely, brother. I love babies, so yeah, especially for a good reason like that, brother. Much love to you. Facebook! First place, gold medal, numero uno, El Jefe. Things as usual on Facebook. Carlos! Boykins! What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear, my guy, Carlos Boykins. And the rivalry continues. I'm winking at Carlos because you can't have a rivalry until you share the championship back and forth a little bit. It's not happening. You don't know how much I like your run, Carlos Boykins, because I'm messing with my guy LP, and I love that guy. Met him in person, awesome dude. Gave it away, silver medal, woo, LP, lucky place. That sultry sounded son of a monkey. Oh, you should see him. He's a good dude. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. Third place, my bronze medal goes to. My tongue got mad at me for a second there. Bronze medal goes to Big Joe Holman. Honorable mention to Corinna. Hello. Mwah. No, Joe, don't try to catch that. That was for Corinna. Don't do that. I'll give you one later. No, I won't. Might let Mama Bear. I'm, kind of cool like that. Jim G, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Mr. Garrison in the house. Mike Henderson. I see all my people. Oh, no way. Happy birthday to blah, 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 blah. You don't want me to do the whole thing. I can't sing. If ever the racial stereotype about African Americans all being able to sing can be broken immediately, it's with this guy. Can't sing my way out of a wet bag. Can't do it. And I come from the era of like Jodeci and Boys to Men when singing was cool. Never could do it. Everyone's saying happy birthday, Corinna. Happy birthday, love. Also, don't forget, please consider a subscription to Raider Bear family page. And if you care, you share a Raider Bear. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please like for the algorithm. Help me out with that because I'm trying to grow my base of peoples. And more importantly, on Facebook, I do a lot of work with charities. I will be doing that on YouTube once I get myself monetized. But right now I'm monetized on Facebook. I've been doing this now for about 5 years. I've been podcasting for 10, but I've been actually working with charities, and then it really blew up in the last like three years. And we've really been able to save lives and make changes. I mean, I was sending COVID shots during COVID to Afghanistan. How about that? And it was not a little. It was oh God, I'm going off the top of my head, but it was 636,000. I think it was. It was contributions from Raider Bear Family Page, MSNBC, and Kids in Need of Deaths, the Kind Fund, and a few other big donors. And it ended up totaling out over 600,000 shots. It's pretty cool. And they sent us this pamphlet, and it said, you saved this many lives. Right on. Oh, what's up, DJ? Mark, is he watching? Hi, DJ. What's up, brother? Hey, listen, DJ, we need all the young Raider fans we can get, okay? And you remember, it's not about wins and losses. Okay, not every team wins. Not every team can be the champion. So if we go through long losing streaks and people say to you, hey, why are you a fan, DJ? You say, because I'm a Raider fan. because we don't go anywhere. We don't waver. We don't quit. That way, when we do win, it tastes that much more sweet, brother. Remember that, DJ. And if I just talk to the air, Mark Vargas, tell him I said that later. David Pell Clive getting in shape for the season. I see him. Friday show, let's go, right? All right, so some good news. So Laki Tassi is pancaking fools. He's looking like a veteran football player already. He himself, in an interview recently, said that he had zero experience with football, but in this last game he played and the camps he's had with Pete Carroll, he feels like on a scale of 1 to 10, his knowledge of football was a 0. And he said after his first preseason game and working in camp with Pete Carroll and the coaching staff, he feels like on a scale of 1 to 10, his knowledge of his football situation, his responsibilities, the playbook, and so on is all the way up to a 7 already. A 7. And don't forget who Pete Carroll said was his most exciting guy in camp right now. That's right. Laki Tassi. He loves that kid. I love that kid. It's an impossible story. When I first heard about him and I heard about the measurables, and for those of you who have forgotten, he's 6'6", 6'7". I've seen different numbers, but I've seen 6'6", 6'7", and upwards of 360 pounds. That's like, I mean, most of you probably already know this when I say this name, The Big Show. You remember the wrestler that used to be in WWE? He's like a chicken McNugget from The Big Show. I'm serious. Could look him dead in his face and damn near weighs as much. I'm shocked. I'm shocked at his size. I'm shocked at his learning curve. I'm shocked that Pete Carroll already has faith in the kid. It's incredible. It's going to be a very interesting season. Also, coming out of practices and out of this most recent, our first preseason game against Seattle, Jack Besh is finally starting to show a little bit. Now, for those of you who are concerned, don't be. Jack Besh is fine. You have to remember, some of these guys, they come in with all that hype and they're a first-round pick or a third-round pick or whatever the case may be. And, but they come in with a lot of hype. Their name and the press around that name is like, whoa, this guy is, he's going to be legit, blah, blah, blah. And I believe that. I've already long drank the Kool-Aid on Jack Besh. Love the kid. I think he's going to be an absolute star. Not a good player, a star. That's why I'm so excited about what we've done, because Dante Thornton, star. Okay. Jack Besh, star. Ashton Genty, star. I mean, look what we've done already. We brought in a guy that's never played football, and he's actually making a major contribution. So although I would say that there is still a little bit of a crapshoot with what you're going to see from this Raider team when we put it all together on the field. For example, there's going to be times where we're going to give up a run. You know what I mean? That's just going to happen. Although against the Niners in our joint practices, blocking the run down. They can't run the ball. The reporters have been talking about it. They can't run the ball. Vic Tafur, who used to be a reporter for the Raiders and has recently become a reporter for the Niners, made a point of saying that the Niners offense was moving the ball against our scrambled up bunch of guys on defense. But they couldn't move the ball on the ground at all. They could throw it, and they did some misdirection stuff where they would make it was like a bubble screen, like a toss play. Technically not a pass in some instances because you're throwing it lateral, that kind of thing, or throwing it into a screen in the line, but still a passing play. They were able to run those things and run those things well from what the press is saying. So they expect the Niners to be able to move the ball against us a little bit on Saturday. By the way, if you're not aware, the game is tomorrow. There's other ways to watch the game. I'll try to pull that up and give you guys some ideas of how you can see the game toward the end of my show. Hey, Bear, do you think the starters will play at least one quarter tomorrow? No, Carlos, it's too early. It would probably be game 3 or game 4. Although I have to admit, Carlos, when Pete Carroll was asked yesterday, I got that fresh toast, brother, and I'm putting some butter on it. But when they asked Pete Carroll just yesterday, he said every name is on the board. Now, that was his answer to the question from the reporter, are we going to see any starters tomorrow? And his response was, everyone's name's on the board. In other words, it could be anyone. There is absolutely no one that is like off the well, that's not available, so to speak. If they feel like someone's, needs some work, they don't care who he is or how many years he has in, they're going to put him up there. Corinna, of course. Come on, we all love you. Not just me. I mean, you see my viewers, they know who you are, honey. Alpha and Omega Forever. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. He said, sup, Bear. Hope Chucky burns the house down and they get Roger Goodell out as commissioner. Alpha and Omega, great to see you, brother. I love that profile picture. I got to tell you this, though. You might not like how this goes. In other words, Chucky has won. What people aren't realizing about what John Gruden won is John Gruden won the appeal of the appeal. So when the NFL appealed that he was taking us to normal legal court, Gruden lost. And it was ruled that it would go to arbitration in NFL court. Gruden appealed that. They had a long wait, and then Gruden won. So he won his appeal to now drag the case back out of arbitration in the NFL's grasp and their judges, where obviously we feel it would have been kind of fixed. But even if it would have appeared that way, technically they've already put rules in place that show you it's not necessarily fixed. It's just the way they have the rules set up. Roger Goodell is Grand Poobah El Jefe Presidente of the that's the only way. Pun foots in him. I can't stand the guy. But that's kind of how it's written in the bylaws of the NFL. He is the last. He is if it's Marvel, some of my nerds watching it will understand this. If it's Marvel, he's the one above all. He's above the living tribunal. I'm nerding so hard. You guys right now don't nerd. I wish you knew what I was talking about. But anyway, he won just the appeal. So now it goes back to normal court. But I don't know that he really has an advantage even in normal court. See, the problem is the rules he broke during NFL schedules and NFL equipment and NFL employees and NFL emails. And so even though he wasn't working for the NFL, he was communicating back and forth with people who were. And so the fact that those communications were found as a result of an investigation is not the NFL or Roger Goodell's fault. He got exposed. Now, fast forward, once he was exposed, the NFL can't say, oh, well, we saw that and it doesn't have anything to do with our investigation. So let's just look the other way. You know what I mean? They're not going to do that. And then especially, God forbid, if the things he had said had come out without the NFL outing him, without Roger Goodell outing him, Gruden just continues on coaching. 3 months goes by, maybe double that, maybe 6 months. And then suddenly, somehow someone Wikipedia's the NFL and goes, you guys knew about Gruden and you left him in place. You didn't sue him. You didn't try to force the Raiders to fire him when you knew that he was a sexist and talking about women have no place in the NFL, when he was talking about gay people and saying they have no place in the NFL, was saying that black players, well, I don't even want to go on that, but he was saying a lot of stuff that you can't exactly go, oh, I was hacked. That's what's being lost here. And that's what he wants. He wants that to get lost in the story. It doesn't for me. The guy said some really nasty, terrible things about people that he just never should have said. I'm here with your favorite feisty Steeler fan, and we have your show on the background, but she is helping me with the work thing. Oh, right on, Tim. You guys are a great couple. I love you guys. Let's see. I was betting at the casino today. We are 3-point dogs at the Patriots week 1 in New England. How you see that game going? I put money on us to win. Okay, first, Jim G, we're going to win. But not only are we going to win, it's going to be impressive. Because remember, there's 2 things in our favor. One, we've had a hell of a rebuild, okay? 2, the team is tremendously excited to show up and lay it on the line for Pete Carroll. That's obvious from what we saw in the first preseason game, okay? And that was with a bunch of knuckleheads out there just running around in different pairs trying to figure out how to win that game. Now, you take that now to game 1, us on the road, the Patriots. You got to know Tom Brady was just on the field these last couple of days, decked out in Raider gear. You know he wants that game. I don't care. Even if it was a preseason game, I'd tell you he wants that game. If there's nothing else that we know about Tom, he wants to win, even if that means bending, breaking, or flat out ignoring the rules. Now, that was when he was against us and he was an active player. Now, I don't see any difference. Putting foots in him, you friggin' thief. But I think he'll do it again. I think he'll do it for us. And I think that he'll scout the Patriots a little bit. He'll give us a little dirt and we'll go out there and we're going to put this thing on him. I have no doubt about it. Because the Patriots, let's remember, they're not very good right now. The Patriots are not very good right now. They're still in their transition. And it didn't go well. They went and got their Mac Jones, quarterback of the future. He's already off the team. And so whenever that happens, even if you think you found a better quarterback than the guy you thought was going to be your future, you're usually wrong. You know what I mean? If you were wrong about the last guy, you're probably wrong about the last one. I would put money on it, Jim. You're going to win. What's up, Troy Gill? Welcome to the show. I love that profile picture. You've had that one for a while. Let's see. Think we should move on from AOC and go get in on the possible Dylan Gabriel trade. That is there, Alpha. And more importantly, I feel bad for AOC. This most recent interception he threw in camp against the Niners, he threw that to Ian Williams, our third string tight end. It hit him right in his hands and he coughed it up and it went right to a Niner corner. And so I just, obviously, I'm sure you do too. You've watched enough football, I'm sure. I see by your age, but that doesn't go on AOC. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate because 98% of the world's just going to hear he threw another interception. They're not going to care. But in reality, that was a tip drill interception on Ian Williams missing the catch. However, having said that, though, everything prior to that catch, Ian Williams looked great. Had a couple nice block plays against the Niners. Rushing attempts. There was no Nick Bosa, but we pretty much shut them down. I was kind of saving that as candy for you guys for later. Our offensive line, Geno Smith himself said he was surprised. He thought we'd be good, but he also was preparing himself for a Niner to squeeze through here and there. Whereas Max Crosby got a clean sack where they had to blow the whistle and stop the play because otherwise, it's just practice. So otherwise he'd have blown their starting quarterback, that guy Purdy, up because he had him one-on-one, no blocker, beaten, and Max pulled up and they blew the whistle. And then good news also, on another play a few moments later, Tyree Wilson got a clean sack from the defensive tackle position. I'm so excited about that. Raiders! Because that young man needs to do something for us. We paid him first round, first pick money. He has to get out there and get it done. I hate that kind of pressure gets put on guys like him that are first stringers and so on. But that's how it is. You got to go out there and you got to perform, man. He's making a ton of money. A ton of money. He's got to do it. To me, this is it. This is the season. Tyree's got to do it this season with Max. And Kuntz, they've got to get sacks. And he in particular has got to get sacks. I don't mind if he gets a couple of those like sacks where it's half sacks because he gets there right when Max and Max both hit him at the same time, things like that. I don't even care if they're half sacks. We need to see more impact from Tyree Wilson. He's paid too much to keep doing that. Steve Chapman, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Long time no see. Say hi to your son for me. His son would always invite me to his birthdays when I lived in California. Sweet little guy and a great dad, Steve. You're a great dad. Our offense should be killer once they all get gelling and on the same page. Well, I will tell you just how killer and on the same page this team is going to be. Now, Geno Smith against the Niners against their practice Niners, had 4 out passes, like deep bombs. He did not hit any of them. Now, it was a combination of fluttered out of bounds a little bit, was a little bit too deep, was a little bit too short, stuff like that. And I think one of them was dropped. I'm not positive of that. I apologize. I just know he went 0 for 4. So he went 0 for 4 on his deep stuff when the Niners and the Raiders were running their 11-on-11 drills, where you're literally simulating an actual game. But when they got into the red zone and they ran their 11-on-11 drills, Geno Smith threw a touchdown to Trey Tucker, Jack Besh, who else was Brock Bowers, Jacoby Meyer, and there was one more. I'm struggling. He threw 5 touchdowns in the 11-11s in the red zone. He threw 5 touchdowns, which I'll take that. You know what I mean? Because by the way, I'd also like to mention that Ashton Ginty on only like his second or third carry, just blew by everyone and took one to the house for a touchdown. And since we know he's going to be able to do that for us in games, we don't have to be perfect with the pass. And that's something I'm really excited about, because even if we're not hitting our long bombs, guys, remember, Geno Smith is a 74% completion percentage passing quarterback. He's routinely in the mid to high 60s. His season before last, it was 74%. So he hits at a very high clip. In an interview just recently, I think it was today, either this morning or yesterday, our number 2 quarterback, Cam Miller, basically said, I see Geno Smith like an idol. And I was like, damn, that's a big statement for a young quarterback to say about Geno Smith. I mean, let's be honest. Most of us that watch football know Geno Smith's history. And Cam Miller, not shying away, showing that he meant every word, brought that up. And I was impressed. It was one of the better interviews you'll listen to by a Raider, I'm telling you, because you could just see how genuine he was. He was complimenting him on the fact that he doesn't mind being a teacher to Cam Miller. He does not see him as a threat. And then Cam Miller made a point of saying, when I would watch him snap the ball and watch his footwork and the way his footwork and his upper body work together, where his footwork and his timing were in tune with his feet and his mind and his hands, when he would make his delivery, he said he was just blown away. And then I went back and looked at some of the video that they were showing, and he makes a very good point. Geno, and I didn't notice this before, Geno Smith has a way of moving his body nonstop. So you never have a way of kind of keying in on, is he looking right? Is he looking left? Is he going to stand still? Is he going to hand it off? Is this a delayed, is this like a delayed run where he's just standing there and he's going to turn around and give it to his running back? What's he doing? And then suddenly feet stop, hand comes up, ball comes out. No patting the ball, no hesitation, just make plays, body and mind in tune. I was very impressed. I got you. That surprises me. Offensive linemen have a lot to learn. So I was sure they'd give Laki Tassi a shot at defensive tackle, because that's the easiest position in football to learn, especially in a 3-4. Well, Joe, that's part of, and great comment. And Joe, that's part of what they were saying about Laki that was getting me excited, is the fact that they had him at defensive tackle and he was playing well in camp. But then they said, this guy's actually really smart too. And that's when I got excited, because if that guy's as smart as he is big, all bets are off. Guys, we might have found a star. I mean, a star. I mean, Laki Tassi right now, we all have to want, all of us as Raider Nation, me included, we're all sort of going, I wonder if he's going to, I feel like in 5 years, we're going to look back and laugh at what we're saying. You know what I mean? I mean, I think Laki Tassi's a stud, man. I really do. I think Laki Tassi's a stud. I think he could end up being one of the best linemen in football. And I know I just said that out loud, but I'm being honest. I mean, even as young as he is, I could see him being one of the best linemen in football already. I know they are showing the game on the NFL Network. Correct, Jesse Parker. Look at you looking all smooth. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Everyone, just a reminder, it is Corinna Trujillo's birthday today. So if you have not wished Corinna a happy birthday, please take a moment and wish my friend Corinna and ours and Raider Nation, a true Raiderette, a happy birthday. Armando Medrano, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Corinna, there's no dumb questions. And yes, he is still with us, but he had some things happen again in camp. I'm sure you heard me. He threw an interception and he didn't have, a stellar day. And I just think that the writing's on the wall. I don't see any situation where the Raiders keep AOC. In fact, I would tell you that the other clue of that is the fact that Cam Miller, not only has Cam Miller been elevated to the number 2, but they were very vocal about it. You don't usually do that to a veteran. And let's be honest, even though we see AOC as a kid, he's been with us for a few years, 2-3 years now. So he's not a kid. He's a veteran, and he's had to learn new, offenses. He's had to learn, new coaches and their personalities, and this is him again. And it just seems like every year he has these bumpy kind of up and down, hit or miss, rough starts. And I'll be the first to admit, I said it, and I quote, whether he's a Raider or he's somewhere else, I think AOC is going to be a winner. I really do. I just think that maybe we're not getting it out of him. I don't want to blame the Raiders. I don't want to blame our coaching staff. I just think maybe There's just times where a guy, if he goes to another team, the coach is there. They can kind of get a hold of him and go, hey, don't worry about all that other stuff. Try this, and maybe he works out. All right, Armando. Appreciate you. Arnie Garza, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Let's see. Arnie Garza said, question, who are your breakout players on offense and defense versus the Niners? Okay, breakout players will be Tyree Wilson. I think he will have a good game against the Niners. The Niners offensive line is not strong. Where they are solid at left tackle, he's not going to play. That kid, I think it's Trey Williams or something like that. But anyway, they have probably arguably one of, if not the best left tackle in football, but he's not going to be in there for that game. So I think Tyree Wilson, add to that the fact that he's going to be on the inside. I think he has a shot to make plays. I think obviously Max is going to make plays, but what I'm looking for is Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is turning into a monster at linebacker because something has happened to him that's very rare. I want all of you that are listening to me now to think of this scenario, okay? I'm going to ask each and every one of you something you like to do, that you do well, okay? That could be chess, okay? It could be cooking. It could be checkers. It could be baseball, wrestling, swimming. I don't care what it is, okay? And how do I say this? You have an opportunity to do what you do best, and someone says, you know what? No, I want you to try it like this. Now, your first reaction, if you're a great cook, or if you're a great wrestler, or you're a great swimmer, you don't want someone to tell you how to swim differently. You don't want someone to tell you, oh, you should try this stroke and try positioning your hands this way. You don't want someone to do that. But every once in a while, an athlete gets a little bit older, maybe has an injury, slows down just a little bit, and the coaching staff goes to him and says, you know what? Try this. And they went to him and said, try this. And he tried linebacker and went, holy goodness gracious. And like a fat kid in a cake shop, he just went, what the hell have I been missing? And Jamal Adams is in love with playing linebacker. And watching him in practice against the Niners, he was everywhere, left side, right side, getting behind the line, getting to the quarterback, getting to the running back, covering tight ends, everywhere, picking up running backs out of the back, everywhere. Jamal Adams is going to go all pro again. I believe that. It's going to be in part because of our record and our total defense. It's going to help him. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say we're going to be the 85 Bears defense. We're going to be good, but we're still going to have some struggles playing against the pass, especially teams like the Niners who kind of showed that. When they do their trickeration, motion a guy left, do a play action pass on the right, and then throw deep. You know what I mean? They show you all these looks, and then you don't know what's coming because then they'll show you the same formation and it's a different play. So they'll show you a formation, motion the same way, and this time throw it right to the motion guy. And then show you a formation, motion the guy, and then throw it to the running back on the opposite side on the flat. And then so on and so on and so on. And they can do that over and over again because I've never said Mike Shanahan isn't a great offensive coordinator. He's a great offensive coordinator and a terrible head coach. Terrible. And there's just times when you can't accept it. The Niners can't accept it. They gave the guy a contract. He keeps on losing. He keeps getting closer and closer and keeps on losing. And now, like his dad, he's regressing backward, just like Jim Harbaugh did when he had that built Niner team. And they went to a Super Bowl. He lost. Then they got to the NFC Championship game, one game before the Super Bowl, and lost. And then after that, it was get rid of Kaepernick, regression, coach fired. And now we're here with Brock Purdy and Shanahan. And they're fugazi as far as I'm concerned. Everything about them. They could come out and blast us. They could come out during the regular season and beat us by 30. And I'll still tell you, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. They're not going to win their division. And if they win their division, they're really going to lose even more embarrassingly in the Super Bowl. And one of the biggest reasons, and I show you guys this all the time, they get some of the softest schedules the NFL can offer. The last 2-3 years, the schedules they've given them are like cottonelle tissue. And they did nothing with it. Did they win a bunch of pointless games? Sure. But did they get it done? No. You know what I mean? I'd rather have a hard schedule and be a hard, badass team that's ready to go when the playoffs start, like Raiders of old. like all our old Raiders teams from the past, not some cupcake team that has a finesse quarterback. No, I want Geno Smith, who's wrangling the ball down the field, but doing it the right way. Tight end over here, running back over there, a little bit of a wide receiver here, a little wide receiver there, and then touch them deep. Keep them honest. Don't let them get all over Ashton. I hate that name. It sounds so spoiled. Ashton Ginty. He sounds like he lives in Beverly Hills, like before he even became an NFL player. That's our son, Ashton. I'm glad we put Tyree Wilson inside. Let's see how Kuntz return when the season starts. You know, Alpha, I'm not excited. I'm not excited. I don't understand why everyone's excited about Malcolm Kuntz. Malcolm Kuntz, to me, is Fugazi. He gave us nothing for 2 or 3 years, literally nothing. And we let him keep working out. They gave him a weight program. They said go home in the offseason, gain 20 pounds. He didn't. He came back and he was ready to go. He was his normal weight, but he was ready to go. He was lean. He looked ready to go. And then he gave us almost nothing. And then AP gets the coaching job. AP tells him, just get out there and give me what you got. And he gets like 7 sacks in 8 games. Or what was it? 6 sacks in 8 games, something like that. It was impressive. And so for him, you know what I mean? And that was with a half season. For him to just go out there and just turn it on, it was impressive. We also have to remember none of these offenses had tape on him. He came in mid-year, so they didn't game plan him necessarily because he was just a guy that came in and out off the bench, you know, for the most part, while we were mixing and matching him and Tyree Wilson, trying to figure out who we could get on the edge other than Max to get pressure on the friggin' quarterback. Put foots in him. Can you tell I'm not a Malcolm Kuntz guy? We got to get better than Malcolm Kuntz. And I love everything we've been doing, this Raider roster, the way the upper staff, all of them involved, have been moving players, cycling guys in and out. I love the aggressiveness. I don't want to get nostalgic with Raider players unless they can ball and they're going to stay here and win. Otherwise, once a Raider, always a Raider. Have a nice day. One thing I haven't seen is return some kickoffs for touchdowns. I think we got some speedsters who can take the top off on especially teams. I don't want to see Ginty or star wide receiver doing it. Well, no, Alpha, it's probably going to be, what's his face? Tommy Mellett. Tommy Mellett, the guy we brought in, who's a quarterback / wide receiver, who we basically told him right off the bat, you're not going to be a quarterback, not even 3rd or 4th string. I don't even think they have him as the emergency guy because he's just small. So at the university he was at, he might have got away with that quarterbacking, but not in the NFL. I really hope we're not going to be a comeback team like we did last. My blood pressure is so uncontrolled. What you got? Oh, thank you, love. Come here. Bring it in. You haven't let everybody see in too long. Daddy's little cub.
Make sure your hat's not in the way.
My college student, hard-working, job-having sweetheart. Raider Nation. Okay. No, Corinna, there's going to be at least a handful of games where we're going to give it to a team. It's still, we're still the Raiders, you know, and this team is just coming together. So the idea that we're just going to land on the field and, you know, and kill everyone, it's not going to be like that. But I apologize for using the word kill. That was irresponsible. We're not going to land on the field and just beat everyone up. What will happen is we will have games where that happens, where everyone gels, everyone is on the right page with Pete, everything Pete calls works, and, you know, we end up winning by 20, 21, 17, something like that. We went to training camp last Sunday. It was hell out there. A lot of people got heat exhaustion. Yeah, Anna, it's a legitimate thing. I can still remember that when Gruden was with us and we first got to Vegas, they could only practice outside from like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And that's it. And then after that, the sun's come up and it's just too blazing out there. It is, how do I say this? It is somewhat of a, oh God, the word's right on the tip of my tongue. I apologize. It's somewhat of a drawback. It's somewhat of a drawback because you're not getting as much time outdoors. And I know that sounds weird to people, but remember, it is a camaraderie thing. Indoors is indoors, outdoors is outdoors. Athletes will tell you there is a difference. The ball travels different. The wind sometimes moves it somewhat, things like that. So when you practice inside, you can't prepare for those things that happen outside. And not everybody's stadium is a dome. Quite a few of them are still open air. So Jim says, I'm watching the Chiefs-Seahawks game on the NFL Network right now. Gardner Minshew is the Chiefs' backup quarterback, and the Seahawks are crushing them right now. Yeah, Gardner Minshew is a backup quarterback. He was never meant to be a starter. Now, the fact that he was being given an opportunity when we had him, I was kind of excited about, I won't lie, because up to that point, no one had let him be a starter. So we didn't really have a solid, we know he can't start. In my opinion, with some of the games he had, especially with the Indianapolis Colts, he had a comeback game with the Indianapolis Colts where he had to score 2 touchdowns and a field goal. They were that far behind, and he brought them back and won the game. And I'm going on memory, so I apologize, but it was like there was only like 34, 40 seconds left in the game when he threw a touchdown to win. And when I saw that, I was just kind of like, okay, maybe he is small, doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's mobile, he's smart, he knows when to get out of the pocket. He doesn't wait until the pressure's so great that he can't get out. He'll roll out, as soon as he sees that one of his offensive linemen's beat, showed some smarts. But with us, I think it was in part the offense and the situation. Had he had more time, had there been someone there as a regular starter, had he got the job, assimilated the playbook, and then the starter left and he got an opportunity, or the starter got hurt in the following season and then he got an opportunity, I think he would have been good. But as it stands, he's in the exact same situation with the Chiefs. He just got there. He's just learning their offense. It's an incredibly intricate offense that Andy Reid runs. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles a lot. And as far as the kick returns, Alpha and Omega forever, Zamir White has been really good in the special teams this year. I mean, he's just been really good. I think it's in part because he's a bruiser. And so when I watched a couple of his kick returns, I noticed that he just basically catches the ball. He eyeballs what's coming at him, and then he makes one cut and hits the gas. And he leaves enough guys like going, whoa, when he makes that one cut that he gets like 10, 15 yards because he just goes straight ahead like a tank. And so they have to adjust to get ready to tackle that. He gets a couple more yards, and then they hit him in the legs, and he goes down. So if he catches the ball at like the 15-yard line, 18-yard line, he's averaging right around the 25, 28, 30-yard line almost every time. And then when they got him one, that was a little bit more shallow. It was up around the 30. When he caught it, he got almost out to the 40. So, yo, bro bear, I ain't no way defending what Gruden said or wrote in those emails, but you got to admit it was a hit job. I don't deny that. Washington was being investigated, but Roger Goodell got a thing against the Raiders dating back to when Big Al was the owner. Well, okay, you can say that it goes way back, Joe, but you have to also admit he actually wrote emails where he called Goodell a pussy cat. He did, repeatedly called him a pussy cat. And, you can't do that and think you're going to get away with that if he finds it. You know what I mean? And he found it, so. And then at the time when it was written, he wasn't a coach in the NFL. He wasn't working for the NFL. But when he found it, he was a coach in the NFL. So that left him vulnerable because Gruden can do almost whatever he wants. So unless it actually, because the NFL is going to appeal again. Okay, they'll keep doing this back and forth. And the crazy part is it's one of those rare situations where both parties have enough money to kind of wear each other out. Gruden's got something like $700 million last time I checked. And I mean, that's a lot of money. Even with lawyers, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? So he can probably keep the NFL in court long enough to get it to finally settle down in one of these courtrooms, and he might win. You know what I mean? He might win, but I don't know why the story's even interesting to people. I mean, so what if he wins? I doubt he'll be happy. All he's going to do is get money. He's got plenty of money, And as far as Roger Goodell, and someone earlier said they'll finally fire Roger Goodell. No, they won't. He makes them so much money. It's like a kid working for a mob boss. The mob boss doesn't care what happens to the kid or what trouble he gets into or how much he drags the mob's name through the mud, as long as he's making them money. None of that matters. And that's Roger Goodell. He makes them a lot of money. Anywho, he used the torpedo, what was starting off to be a real good season for us. Even though Gruden said some bad things about Goodell, I'll go so far as to call it a coin flip. If it ever would have come out, if Gruden would have been coaching anybody. Joe, I find the subject super interesting because I'm being honest with you when I say I just don't know where to fall on this. I'm not a Gruden fan, and I don't like the things he said. If you look at his win-loss record, it's not very impressive. I mean, if you look at his win-loss record, you'd think he had all these wins, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? And the wins he does have in the Super Bowl wasn't with us, you know? And so I'm torn about Gruden. And then he comes back, and then all this stuff and these emails comes out. To me, it's like he's my son and he's embarrassed the family. I'm not immediately thinking, oh, you got screwed over, you know, John. I'm immediately thinking, why would you say things like that? Why would you send things like that in emails? I mean, that's evidence. It's electronic. It never, ever goes away. You know, what were you doing? That's what I'm thinking. And God forbid, if there's a judge that thinks like I do, there's no way he could win. Because you're going to look at the bylaws of the NFL and the fact that the NFL, the league, and all of its owners gave Roger Goodell grand poobah powers. Hassan Chop, he's the man. Glenn Medina, we're not keeping AOC. I pretty much made up my mind. It business-wise, it makes no sense. If you look at what's happening with them, Cam Miller has already been given the number 2 spot. For him to have overtaken him with one good throw, and then AOC playing that poorly, it's just a hurricane of you're going to be off the team. I realize, Glenn, you don't trust Geno Smith. I don't expect anyone to trust him. I'm only on board because I know what he did in Seattle. He had 3 seasons in Seattle, and 2 of them were all pro. So that's what I know. And then the season that he had that was bad was the year that he knew his coach was getting fired and he was probably going to have to look for a team. So add to that now, he follows his coach that he loves to a team that needs a quarterback and is embracing Geno Smith. Because let's be honest, Raider Nation is embracing Geno Smith. He's the closest thing we've had to a legit starting potential star in a while. I think there should be 2 Hall of Famer inductions, one to kick off the season and one to end the season. Those who paid their dues already shouldn't have to die before getting inducted. Who's next? Tim Allen is next. Very deservedly. He was an incredible corner. And when he was at his peak, you could argue he was a legit cover corner and not just a good DB. He was a cover corner. Alpha and Omega, Charles Grant is playing really well in camp. I think the only reason he may not start is just because he's young. I think he can end up taking a job really quickly. And if anyone on left or right guard gets hurt, he'll be inserted immediately. I think Bo Jackson's nephew will make the team. Well, I mean, if genetics have anything to do with it, you got to figure he will. If Laki Tassi pans out on the offensive line, especially I don't think there's any doubt. I'm going to read the rest of your comment, Joe, but I don't think there's any doubt. Especially if he becomes a starter, then that's a real cool because the offense starts with the line. But I got to be honest with you, playing defense myself in college, I'd have been jumping up and down to see a monster like him in the tackle slot. Yeah, because there are a lot of things you can do to him. You run stunts, he can get confused and wonder whether he's supposed to come out of his position and go find the guy he's supposed to block, or is he supposed to stay in his position and pick up the guy that switches places with him? Oftentimes that can be really hard to read in how you're working with your teammate on your right shoulder and your left. And, you know, young guys struggle with that. And so we're going to see that no matter how good Lockie's playing in camp, no matter how good he played against the Niners, we're going to see some learning curve, Joe. You're right about, I see where you're going and you're right about that. But I just think there's going to be less of that and more of him winning the day because the guy's just size alone. Now, Joe, you say his size. And so you figure maybe he doesn't have as good a footwork, right? Maybe he can't move quite as well. Maybe he's not quite as fast as some other linemen at that size. I would disagree with you only because he's just so young. I mean, we're getting the guy as a baby and he has no major injuries coming from rugby. So, you know, no knee injuries we have to worry about reacting, you know, or coming back or anything. No back injuries, nothing like that. If I'm not mistaken, he's 21 years old. Alexa, how old is Laki Taki of the Las Vegas Raiders? Tassi, I should have said it better. 22. Sorry, he's 22 years old. He's a freaking baby. I thought he was barely old enough to drink, but he's 22, which is still barely old enough to drink. The redheaded Baroness, my brother, is in the kitchen. She's making soup. I had to do my best, Bernie Sanders. And she's in the kitchen making me soup. Someone laughed at that. I know you did. What's up, Stephen Shaw? Good to see you, brother, as always. Oh, there it is. Stephen Shaw. Hey, this is a Friday night performance I'm giving you guys, okay? And by the way, I'm putting on a great show. If I say so to myself, and I do. But I'm giving you information, putting on a fun, funny show. And literally 2 minutes before the show was going to start, I was going to cancel because I was having technical problems and I couldn't get my camera on. And I was about to say I got my camera on, but Mama Bear got my camera on. I'm not a tech guy. If I was a tech guy, I'd already have 1 million followers, I promise you. I'm just not a tech guy. And I'm not willing to sell things and use my audience. I don't do that either. I can't stand Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and all these guys, KSI, who decide they're going to make drinks and they're going to do this, do that. I've sold my chain, which is extremely high quality, has the best freshness, and comes with no mold on it. And it tastes great, not like those Prime drinks that are just battery acid or perfume you're swallowing. Let's see if Niner Beto talks trash tomorrow, since we are playing his 49ers. His 49ers, I should say. Alpha, he probably will, whether they win or not. So, you know, he'll say enjoy the win. You never know when you'll get another. He'll say something smart-ass like that to me, I'm sure. He'll probably text me just before the game. Apologize for this beatdown, Bear. He loves to talk trash. Me, I'm kind of the opposite. I don't talk any trash till the game's over. You know, game's over, I'll look at him and be like, hey, Beto. Hi, how you doing, man? Punt foots in ya. No, I'm kidding. Beto, how you doing? Beto, how you doing, man? It doesn't matter how you're doing, loser. He'll get all that. He'll get all that smoke once we win the game. Otherwise, I won't respond to his text. Lucky, what's up? Welcome to the show. Any free agents that are out there that we could be kicking the tires on that you know of? Yes, there's a safety still with the Seattle Seahawks. I want to say his name's I can't remember. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I just watched a preview about it the other day, but there's a safety on Seattle that's like, I think he's illegally talking to Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll's already made it known that he's going to sign him next year. And he's already pretty much told Seattle, don't even bother to try to offer me a contract, because they tried to offer him a new contract. And from what I understand, Seattle kind of lowballed him. His agent told the player, and the player said, well, then F them. And so now you're already hearing these whispers that he wants to be a Raider. And they have to be careful how they talk about it, because you can get, tampering charges. But yeah, nice safety. I think it starts with a D, like Dylan or Dunham, something like that. I apologize. But when you see him, you'll see what I mean. He's a hitter. He's 6'3", 225 pounds, big. So he's exactly what Pete Carroll likes, obviously, because he was playing for Pete Carroll before, but he may end up playing for him again. Neil Adams, Luke Getsy sucked as an offensive coordinator, so I wouldn't take anything from last season. You know what I mean? You have a bad offensive coordinator and your offense is in the toilet every single weekend. You're going out there with that offense, you're probably either not going to win or you're going to struggle to a win. Let's see what Jerry Jones emails say. No, see, the problem with that Alpha and Omega is that Jerry Jones is too wealthy. Way too wealthy. He is way too wealthy. That guy is richer than rich people. He is rich. And he has kind of the voice among the other owners. They believe in him as one of the more innovative guys that is still in this era doing things, but still goes back to the old era when they were doing things. And he's kind of the perfect, guy to bounce off. He's the Rosetta Stone, so to speak, for the rest of the league. That will change because obviously he's close to not even being the owner anymore. They've been talking about putting his son in charge for years and years. And there's whispers that he already is, and that Jones is only there ceremonial so far. And they have a dozen photos of Jones with different women cheating on his wife and going into hotel rooms, smiling ear to ear while some girl's unbuttoning his shirt and he was trying to slide his car. God is my witness. Putting butts in him. Oh, Jerry got that Viagra boy. I like AOC, but my new regime has never liked him. And Gino is good quarterback, and Bear has reign where you live. Troy Kill. Are you going to watch the game tomorrow? And what are you looking for on offense and defensive as far as players? Okay, I want to see some more from Dylan Laube. I think Dylan Laube should be a weapon. I think that he should not be a cut because we're getting close to the 53-man cut down, and Pete's going to have to be ruthless, guys. There's going to be guys we cut that you're going to be shocked when my show comes on and I say, hey, we let go of this guy and we let go of this guy. You know what I mean? For example, Cody Lindbergh. I was talking to you guys just the other night before last. Sorry, I missed you guys last night. Stuff got in my way, but just the night before last, I was talking about Cody Lindbergh, the linebacker we brought in from Boston, and he's a 7th round pick, just a cute kid. He looks like he should be delivering my newspaper, riding a bicycle, throwing it at my door in the morning. I mean, he's adorable. He looks like a Boy Scout. He looks like a Mormon, one of those guys that rides the bikes and goes to your door to save your soul. He looks so clean cut and squeaky. It's almost weird, but there's a monster under all that happiness. That guy is a dude. And I just pray he gets a shot because he's another guy that is one of your Raider Bears, like dark horse players where I saw him, scouted him, saw what he did in college. And I'm like, that guy can ball, man. I mean, if we get him in the 4th or 6th or 7th round, we might be getting a guy who's legitimately a number 2 or number 3 round, linebacker and just hasn't grown into his man body yet, hasn't gotten to the NFL yet. And when he does, and he gets that man body on him, we're talking about a guy that plays a lot like Brian Urlacher. And I did drop that name. And Brian Urlacher is Hall of Fame, for the Chicago Bears. And I don't care. He reminds me a lot of Brian Urlacher. He really does. And I normally never compare younger guys to greats like that. But I think Dylan Laube goes off this season. Alpha, if he makes the team, I mean, you've got Ashton Genty, you got Raheem Mostert, you got Zamir White, you got Sincere McCormick, who, by the way, is having another great camp. He had a great camp last year. You know what I mean? And a lot of us as Raider fans thought he might break through last year. So that's 4 guys in front of him. And let's be honest, they're all pretty damn good. I mean, they're good. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough for Dylan. It really is. I'm hoping that they look at him as a slot wide receiver running back. That way you could keep him as a wide receiver where we need depth anyway. And then just mix and match him in that small slot wide receiver that we all want Trey Tucker to do. But Trey Tucker, I'm going to say something that's going to surprise you guys. Here we go. Trey Tucker may be one of the cuts, guys. He's caught touchdowns. He's playing well. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he's also been covered and, on some routes by guys that you wouldn't say are exactly great cover corners. He's also had a few drops, both in camp and in the game with the Niners. And so, or not the game with the Niners, but I mean, the 11 on 11s. He had a drop. And so I'm tired of making excuses for Trey Tucker. I just feel like as a Raider fan, I need to sometimes balance us out in that way. I like him. Like I like every Raider. I like all the Raiders. But Trey Tucker he always seems like he's this close and then he fails. Oh, look, he's back. And look, don't you remember it was last year before camp even started, you were hearing just raves about the fact that Trey Tucker went to a wide receivers school run by another Hall of Fame wide receiver. I forget exactly who it was. I think it was there because there was more than one guy, but I know one of them was the wide receiver, Chris Carter from the Vikings. And Chris Carter was one of the best route runner / speed guy wide receivers ever. Okay. One of the best ever. So you go to that guy you're learning something. And then Trey Tucker came into camp, and I'm telling you, scouting him, I saw him go from a novice who had a route tree. For those of you who don't know what route tree is, look it up. I don't have time to explain because the show's over. But his route tree was essentially 3 to 4 routes. Now it's like 12. And it's all because of he learned footwork and how it matters. It isn't just run in place really fast and then break left and break right. Sometimes it's run in place really fast, give him that wiggle, and then right when you break left, you hit the brakes and come back to your right, or hit the brakes and then go again the same direction. He didn't have that. He has speed, he has jitter quickness, but he would just run a route. So if they said run a 7 route, he'd run a 7 route. But there was nothing elusive to it. And some of these defensive backs, they put him in cover shells, run underneath him with linebackers so you couldn't throw to him right away, where the slant is more effective. And it just never seemed to come to fruition with Trey Tucker. I'm kind of over it. And he had a touchdown in the 11-11s against the Niners, but he also had a drop. And it's like that. It seems like with him every season. And so I love the guy. I really do. I love Trey Tucker. I love his name. I think it's cool. Trey Tucker. I just love that. He has like a movie star name. He's got great speed, and I love how hard he works. I mean, I would imagine if he wasn't with us, he'll be with someone else instantaneously. Why wouldn't the Eagles, always trying to get better, having come off a Super Bowl, why wouldn't they try? Why, the moment he hits free agency, why wouldn't the Chiefs pick him up to try to learn everything we're running this year? You know, I'm concerned because Trey's real nice, but I don't think he's going to make the team. And I know I said that out loud. I know that sounds crazy because he's been consistently making the team, but we didn't have Pete Carroll as coach. We didn't have Tom Impatience Brady up in the box watching this guy dropping balls. And we didn't have Spytek, someone who has proven himself already to be the kind of GM that if we need a Band-Aid somewhere, he can look out into free agency, look at other teams and go, oh yeah, I can get this guy, bring him in as a third wide receiver, no problem. You know what I mean? I could see Spytek doing that. So Trey Tucker's got to really, in this Niner game, play well. And in these next couple preseason games, he's got to play well. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble with the 53-man. Armando Medrano! Appreciate the love on the stars. And remember, stars go to charities that we work with all over the world. And we have just gotten started recently with Arizona, starting to make a difference out here already. Working with Make-A-Wish and I feel I'm embarrassed that I always forget this one. Wounded Warriors program. Excuse me. Thank you. And the Wounded Warriors program. So we really got into that. And I apologize for being so dunderheaded blonde, but someone who watches my show suggested it. And I thought that was great. And then when I looked into it and saw that it was strictly for Wounded Warriors and veterans and helping them out, I immediately got online and got involved. So just FYI, that's where your coinage goes with us, and we also use it for other things as long as it's like equipment for the show. All right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. 30 viewers right to the end of my show. I love you guys. Raiders! Don't forget, please share your Raider Bear. Don't forget, share and reach out to Raider fans. Let them know where that good is coming from. With a good smile, a little bit of humor, and great intel on these Las Vegas Raiders. Love you guys. See you next time. Raider Bear family page. Have a great weekend. Watch that drinking stuff. God bless you right back, Stephen. I miss you, Shaw. You guys are great. I love you all.